have over here?
Cheers, mate.
It's gonna be a great video.
Thanks. Yeah, just doing an interview over here.
We're professionals.
Cool. What was the question?
Hi, I'm Shandana Mufti, and I'm here for ABScream Media. I'm here with a couple of the guys from As It Is. Do you just want to take a second to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ben. I sing and play guitar.
I'm Andy and I play guitar.
Cool. So this is your guys' first US tour.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been, and did you have any hopes or expectations going into it?
It's been really good.
Yeah.
Really
We almost
good.
had like no expectations. I think we kept
Not
our
almost.
expectations.
I had no expectations.
Yeah, we kept our expectations really low, because then you can only be pleasantly surprised.
Not just for that reason, but because like UK bands coming over to the US, it's always like you hear so many tough stories about trying to break America or whatever, and like doing their best coming over here and try and build a fan base, and actually come over and have a bit of a fan base ready and waiting has been. Cheers, Elliot.
Good one, Elliot.
Thanks.
You say a bit of a fan base. We've been pleasantly surprised with how big
It's been good.
with the response has been. So yeah.
So what's been the most surprising thing here?
Ooh.
Just how big it is.
Yeah, the size of America, the scale of touring here, just the drives are so long. In comparison to the UK, it's completely different.
So before the tour, you were recording an album actually in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, is there any difference between writing for an EP and writing for an album, since you guys have just released a couple of
There's
EPs?
more songs.
There's
Yeah,
more
it
songs.
takes
We
a lot
did
longer.
Get that.
It really is as simple as that.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer. I think with writing an EP, you need to concentrate everything. With an album, you get to be a bit more diverse. We got to just experiment how we worked writing a lot more, and that was really nice, just to see what kind of songs we could come up with. And yeah, it took a lot longer. Took a lot longer to record, and that's the main difference, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot more.
So how long did you spend working on it?
About 3 months writing and then 5 weeks in the studio. For the writing of the album, we were like, we're going to jump right in and do it.
Yeah.
And we all quit our jobs and lived together and wrote it in Patty's attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all in.
Yep.
Was that scary?
Yes.
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 Quitting my job was terrifying, but
It's been alright so far.
I'm in Boston, so
There
I
you
can't
go.
really complain.
Freezing in Boston. Here you
Yeah,
are.
freezing in Boston. It's going to be a song on the second album.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You heard it here first.
So what is your writing process? Do you guys write lyrics first, music, melody first?
Music
Music
first. Yeah, that's pretty much been like the same thing.
Yeah.
Music first, and we write all together in one room, and basically keep going until everyone's happy with it.
Yeah.
Ben and Patty take most of the lyrics, although that
Yeah.
isn't
We
set in stone.
Yeah, we open it up like it basically used to be just me and Patty, but now we.
Well, it used to just be Patty, and then it was you.
Then
and
it used to,
Patty,
yeah, and then
now it's not just you and Patty.
yeah,
so
now it's just me and Patty, and we run it by everyone, and then people make, even if it's just a word here and there or like a phrase, like things get changed all over the place. So like, it's hard to know who's written what at times.
It's a real good collective effort,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So one of the things that was pretty noticeable about you guys is that Patty first had that giant following on YouTube. So is there a lot of crossover between fans of those videos and covers to As It Is now?
Yeah, there has been. It's been quite funny because, like, I met Patty when he had about less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
And then when they had 100.
So
yeah.
it's quite weird, like, seeing his YouTube channel did really well a lot quicker than As It Is, but now it's nice to see As It Is catch up, because they have been basically going pretty much the same sort of time.
Yeah,
frame
I think
now.
that's what people don't realise, is that As It Is and
Was-
his YouTube have pretty much been going, like,
Yeah.
he maybe had
Simultaneously.
like a year where he gained 100, 1,000
'Cause you guys-
followers, but from that point onwards we were going simultaneously.
I think Patty learned how to do covers a lot quicker than we learned how to be a band.
I like that.
So how long did you take to learn how to be a band?
We're still learning.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the most important thing you've learned? Or what's the hardest thing you've had to learn?
That you're not always right.
Yeah.
There are 4 other members who also probably have valid arguments as well.
Sounds like there's a story behind that.
No,
being in a band is like being in a relationship with 4 other dudes, and and you just have to learn. You have to learn to be in a relationship with them.
And I think that's the thing, like, being in a band where everything is a complete democracy as well, where everyone has equal say, and everyone's opinion is as valid as each other's. If one person doesn't like it, we change it until all 5 people are happy. Because
there probably is, we're all knowledgeable about music enough and can articulate ourselves enough to say what we don't like about it or what we think should be different about it. And so we then discuss if everyone feels it's a valid point, and if no one feels it's a valid point and that one person still feels, it's like, okay, well, up to you to sort it. I remember there was a song on the record where I was the odd one out that didn't think that the song was anywhere near being done.
Yeah, you'd come back after, I think you'd had a day or 2 days away, and we'd basically finished this song, and you came back, didn't like it, and then you spent about 6 to 8 hours just in the room on your own, kind of trying to fix it, and then you turned out to be right. So, yeah.
I taught them that the pre-chorus was actually the chorus.
Yeah.
And it was?
It was, and it is to this day. So you'll hear that.
Forevermore.
Penultimate song. That's the one we're talking about.
Got it. We sat and listened to your EPs today and the couple of the songs you released off the upcoming one, and we noticed that there's a definite progression in the sound where it starts off a lot more pop punkier and it gets to kind of more pop sensibilities towards the end. Is that a change? Is that just growing up?
I think we stopped caring.
You stopped caring.
In the original days,
out of context, that would sound really
bad.
bad.
Sorry. Yeah, let me give some context to that, in the sense that we used to, when we were writing, try to an extent try and tick boxes and be like, we need to fill this criteria, we need to have this bit represented, this kind of sound. And then with the album, we definitely wrote more.
It started with the EP, and then with the album especially, it was a case of, right, let's just write what we want to write. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but let's write what we enjoy and not try and think about what other people are going to perceive it as, what we enjoy. And we all listen to pop music, so
we don't hide away from the fact we listen to pop music
anymore.
There we go. There's the key thing.
There's a lot of pop punk bands from the UK coming over into the US. We were just wondering, how do the scenes differ between the two countries?
I think for a long time, UK pop punk has been neglected.
Yes.
I think, for a lack of a better word.
Not been taken seriously.
No, I haven't. And a year ago, it was unimaginable that a UK pop punk band would sign to an American label, and now there's lots signing, which is great. It's great to see that UK pop punk for once is being recognised by sort of the homeland of pop punk. It was born and created in the US, with bands like Green Day, Blink-182, and then Descendants before that, and bands like that. And so, I mean, it's taken a while, but finally UK pop punk is actually getting a say in being recognised as a legitimate source of pop punk, which is great.
So if you look at it without the context of you guys doing your release show in the UK, of Rome going back and touring in the UK, it sort of looks like there's this max exodus of bands coming to the US and just...
Yeah,
and
I think we have a lot of UK fans that think we're based in America at the moment. Because everything, whether it be we're doing this tour, Warped Tour, and whatever it be, where we're selling stuff online, people are like, oh, will you ever come to the UK? It's yes. We spent the whole of last year touring the UK. So it's like, yeah.
And then like the year
And then
before
some.
that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes maybe the UK can sort of forget its size, and I think it's only been in the past few months that I've sort of really twigged how small the UK is. Like, it's a massive. The UK as a country punches well above its weight, like size-wise and like I don't know, economy-wise, if you really want to go down that route. But like music-wise, I mean, bands will do what, like 8-10 shows in the UK, and it's the size of Florida. And the most you'll do in Florida is maybe what, 3-4 shows. And so
It's smaller than Germany or France, where you do like 1, 2.
yeah, and America's like 300 million people across a landmass that is the size of Europe. That it's just a bigger market with all the record labels that has all the bands that influenced us growing up. So I don't know. It's sort of inevitable. Well, not inevitable because it wasn't an option like a year ago, but like now to actually have the option of coming over to the US and having a crack at it. I mean, not many UK bands in general get it, let alone a band of a genre that was born and created in the US.
Right.
Like, you don't get many, like, I don't know, UK blues artists that get to go over to like the deep south of America and sort of get their chance to do with the blues artists that grew up in the places that blues started, or any country bands that maybe in the UK that go to Nashville and stuff like that. I feel like it's the same sort of thing. You don't get many pop punk bands that get to go to San Diego or like Oakland and like really sort of have a good shot at making it where their genre was started and formed.
So do you think that sort of plays into like, I guess, the non-cohesion of a scene over there, where you don't have direct access to the sort of inspiration that it was about, like whether sort of not having access to the sources of inspiration in terms of music?
But I think that's almost the thing where like US bands of that were still so big in the UK.
Right.
So
I think the internet helped.
yeah,
That's true.
when MySpace came along. Back
MySpace
in
was
the
great.
day.
Oh my
I
god.
miss it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, new MySpace just isn't doing it.
I tried it
Isn't-
once.
I don't
and
understand
never again.
what I'm pushing.
Didn't
like, I don't know
relog
what
in.
I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it became this thing where everyone in the UK became so influenced by American artists, at least within our scene.
Yeah.
And like that's why I always find it funny where it's like people get blamed, a lot of bands get blamed for like, oh, you have an American accent but you're British. It's like, well, we grew up listening to almost purely American bands because we didn't have a scene of that genre of our own.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what a British accent in pop punk sounded like until I don't know whether we still do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think well, obviously Patty's born in America, so we can avoid that sort of stereotype ourselves. And I do think Rome sort of get away with that. I think
They
Alex,
sound very
He
British.
sounds very
Yes.
British when he sings. So I think they're doing a good job, and I think we've sort of got a get out of jail free card with Patty. So yeah.
So you can give yourselves a pat on the back to the answer of this next one, but do you think that they'll be musicians for the next generation to look up to?
so.
Yeah. I mean, I think there always will be.
From their hometown, like I'm talking about
Okay.
coming from the UK.
I don't know. It's one of those
Home
weird things
state.
where, like, I don't know, where I think there's always a bit of sense that, like, the next generation will think what the previous generation has done isn't cool, so they'll go
Right.
off and do something else, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, not a problem with that at all.
Keeps it
I think
moving.
then it keeps something new and exciting coming along, which I think would be totally fine. But if like people do want to take influence from us, it's a weird thing
Yeah.
to
It's
say.
weird to say, yeah.
They're more than
There are
welcome to.
two bands that are named after like either our lyrics or songs, which I also find weird. So
That's
yeah.
What
very
bands are those? You can give them. a
There's
shout
there's one called Textbook Misery,
out. Spoken Misery.
and then there's one called Upswing. It takes your breath away a little bit. I'm always a bit like can't believe it, because to me I'm just some awkward kid from Brighton, like and
To me,
people
you are
there.
some. Yeah.
yeah
That
yeah.
was beautiful, guys.
Like, yeah. So when people are like, oh, like, when they say things like, oh, I look up to you or whatever, I'm just like, I haven't got anything more figured out than anyone else. So, yeah. it's amazing to see, basically.
Yeah. So last question, what is the goal for As It Is? Where would you like to see yourselves?
I think we've always not always, I think in the past maybe couple of months, we've sort of started thinking, actually, this is a potential, like, living or like a
Career.
long-term option. And like, I mean, it never started out that way. It was a case of this was like a bit of fun, which we enjoyed doing, that has actually sort of got out of hand. And so actually now we use it. I don't know. It's like I remember hearing interviews with like older bands, like I don't know, NoFX and bands and like Bad Religion of that sort of era, and you couldn't have a career in like in a punk band or even if they had like melodic elements. But now you have like Green Day, you have All Time Low, you have Blink-182, who aren't just having like a career which they can live off, they're actually having a really decent living. And so actually the idea of doing music for a living isn't, you know, the wildest dreams it once was. It's like actually we could, if we're not stupid and actually carry on caring about what we're doing, which I like to think we'll still do. We can actually do this for a little bit while longer, which would be nice.
Was that realization something that took a long time, or was there one event that triggered it?
I feel like it's lots of small little things. I think getting the record done and finished and like mixed, mastered, and actually playing it in comparison to records that I love and class as real bands, and going, actually our record sounds as good as, if not better than, some of these records. And so I'm like, actually, and like we've come to the US and there are fans here who want to see us, and like we've played Europe and there are fans who want to see us there, outside of Brighton, where there was a point where we were playing in Brighton and no one wanted to see us.
Yeah, no one. I don't even know whether people still want to see us in Brighton.
And so I think it's like little things like that, where it's like not seeing that we are a real band yet, but we have the potential to be a real band.
How about you? Anything to add?
No, I just think like even as real as a band as we get to the outside world, I still think none of us will ever think that we're a real band, like in that context.
There you go. Thank you guys so much for your
No worries.